Hi YouTube, it's EmeraldBlueEyes10 here, and here is the video on how to build Blue Eyes decks. I've had quite a few questions and comments recently about how I make my deck work so well without the Chaos, Hopeless, Disaster variant, and I've actually had some people ask me about how to build those particular decks as well. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions, key monsters, key cards that are used to build those kind of decks. So I hope you guys enjoy and I hope you find it useful. Okay. As you know, I play Blue Eyes, but I don't run a Hopeless or Disaster or Chaos variant deck. It's my own unique style. I've built it in a way where it is competitive, but it's also fun at the same time. Now, from my own experience, I think there's about 4 or 5 different varieties of Blue Eyes deck. There is Hopeless Blue Eyes, Chaos Blue Eyes, Disaster Blue Eyes, there's the fan-made Blue Eyes, so that's like Kaiba cards and stuff like that, and then there's finally the unique Blue Eyes, which is the sort of like my deck build, a competitive deck, but it doesn't go along the same line as the 3 meta decks I have mentioned. The reason why I decided not to go Hopeless, Disaster or Chaos variant, I think it's really because I like to be different. I don't want to be a sheep follower. I don't want to follow the crowd. I want to do my own thing and, be known as somebody who did it a completely different way. And that's what I've done with the Blue Eyes deck. And my build works quite well. I'm pretty proud of it, in honest truth. It's come a long way since I first built the Blue Eyes deck 10 years ago. It was technically a Dark Magician deck back then, but then it became Blue Eyes Dark Mage until finally, about 3-4 years ago, it finally became the competitive build that it is today. So that's the reason why my deck is the build it is. I just want to be completely different. I want to show that there is other competitive dragon builds out there besides just using Hopeless, Chaos, or Disaster. And if people want to use a similar build, then I've got no problem with that at all. it's quite an honour if somebody says, I'd like to build your deck and everything. It's nothing wrong with that at all. It's only, I suppose, the net decking side of it only comes into like the top meta decks when net decking is just taking that deck, copying it card for card just to win. But if you actually build someone else's deck to test it out for yourself and to see how it does and see if you can tweak it or manage it, then there's nothing wrong with that at all. But anyway, let's get on to the key cards in some of these decks anyway. Now, in the competitive builds, Chaos, Disaster, and Hopeless, there are quite a few key cards in there that are extremely useful and extremely important. Now, I'm just going to show you some of them right now. For the Chaos meta, and for the meta decks at least, yes, you need your 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Sorry guys, I'm trying to organise my cards here again. For most Hopeless, Disaster, Chaos, Blue Eyes decks, you need to run at least 3 of these, 3 of the Blue Eyes White Dragons, otherwise they wouldn't be a Blue Eyes deck. However, I have seen Umbreon from the Shadow, he's a fellow Blue Eyes player. He's actually built a Blue Eyes deck, a Hopeless Blue Eyes deck with just 2 Blue Eyes, and it actually works quite well. So, any number of Blue Eyes can be useful in the deck. I think 3 works best because then I can say it's a true Blue Eyes deck because, as you know, Kaiba ran 3, the only 3 in the world. But there are people out there who run 2 or less. And the other key card of Blue Eyes decks is this one. Now, this is not mine, this is my little sister's. I've borrowed it for this video. The Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. You can special summon it from the hand by banishing a face-up dragon monster you control, and once per turn you can special summon a dragon from the hand or graveyard thanks to this dragon's effect. This is a key card in meta decks for special summoning and swarming the field. And a lot of people constantly tell me to put this card in my deck, but as I said, I don't want to follow the crowd. I do things my way. But if you are building a competitive dragon build, I would recommend this at least. But if you don't want to, you don't have to use it. This is the key card in all hopeless in all the meta decks, because just for swarming field and getting out the big hitters such as Blue Eyes and other dragons on the field. For Chaos variants, we have the Light Pulsar and Dark Flare Dragon. Each of these cards focus on mainly the dark sides of summoning. For example, this dragon, when it's sent to the graveyard, the Light Pulsar, it can summon a dark dragon from the grave, I believe. Yeah, special summon it. So, say if your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon's in the graveyard and this gets sent to the graveyard, it's a constant loop of reviving those cards in order to swarm the field. And Dark Pulsar is used as well to send dragons to the grave, so it's brilliant for setting up the graveyard in order to use your Red Eyes Darkness Metal and everything. Now, unfortunately, I don't have this, but another key card is Red Eyes Wyvern. Some people run 3, some people run 2, some people just run 1, but it removes itself from play at the end of a turn if you haven't normal summoned, and allows you to special summon a Red Eyes monster, so that's mainly key in getting out Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon as well. Other big hitters in key Blue Eyes decks are things like Primaterial Dragon and Light and Darkness Dragon, in order to get around destruction or lock down the field and everything. Primaterial is really good in like negating destruction and all that. Lad is a key feature of Blue Eyes Disaster decks, so there's like 3 Red Eyes Darkness Metal, 3 Lad, and 3 of Blue Eyes White Dragon to combo with this card for a Disaster Dragon deck. Because that deck just basically locks down the field, and you can special summon your Blue Eyes or special summon the Red Eyes Darkness Metal in order to summon another Blue Eyes in that way. And I only run 1 in my deck because it's a good anti-meta card. It is a very good anti-meta card, and it's just a key feature in those competitive decks and that as well. Another couple of cards that are very good in the competitive decks are something like Quackaimeru Draco, or Drago, sorry, I keep on calling it Draco for some reason. This is sort of like a Thunder King for dragons. It stops the special summons of light and dark monsters. Good for the opponent, but I don't think it's actually really good for the meta decks, if you ask me, because unless you've already got your Red Eyes Darkness and all your big hitters out in the field, and this is just to stop the opponent down from doing anything. I mean, I would like to run one of these myself, but since my deck is heavy on special summoning like the other forms of Blue Eyes, then, you know, it's not really good for my deck at the moment anyway. Another key card of the competitive Blue Eyes decks is this one, Future Fusion. Mainly targets the 5 God Dragon or 5-headed dragon. And this is the key card in a lot of competitive decks to set up the graveyard, so you can send things like your Totem Dragons, Red Eyes Darkness Metals, Red Eyes Wyverns. Okay, sorry about that, I just heard a strange noise over there. One is because this is the key card for dragon decks to set up the graveyard in order to start swarming the field, basically. A lot of people say that Future Fusion is the main card in dragon decks in order to get them started. I don't think that's true, in honest truth. There are key cards in every deck, but if a deck focuses too much on one card, if that falls apart, the strategy for that card falls apart, then obviously the deck's not going to run as well. So dragon decks are more versatile, but people who say that, you know, as soon as you get Future Fusion you win, it's not true, if you ask me. Other really good cards for dragon decks that I think every build should really use is like Mash Dragon, which is the Searcher for dragons. Searchers out 15 attack or less dragons, and there's so many dragons nowadays that have less than 15 attack, so I recommend that as a main search engine. If not, you can use something else. For example, you could use things like, I don't know, Shining Angel if you're building a light variant of the deck, or, you know, Mystic Tomato, or, you know, things like that. If you're using a lot of synchros, one tuner I would recommend to you is Delta Flyer. increases other monsters' levels by 1, so it's a level 3 already, so if you've got a level 3 on the field, you can go into a level 6 or a level 7. If you have a level 4 and this on the field, you can go into a level 7 or a level 8, and so on and so forth. It's quite a versatile little card for synchroing, I would say. Another good tuner I would also recommend is the Bree Dragon. Now, I used to run this in my deck, I don't anymore, but this is quite a versatile little dragon for dragon decks at least, because it can resurrect, say, dragon monsters you run that have less than 500 attack, and you could synchro with it into that way. It's quite good for synchroing, again, into level 7s and above if you've got the correct monsters. Another little standard staple card that I personally really like is this card, Totem Dragon. Now, unfortunately, Totem Dragon is starting to get quite expensive for dragon decks. When this card first came out, it was less than £5. It's now gone up to £15–20 in some cases. It's very versatile because it acts as 2 tributes when summon of a dragon monster. It can resurrect itself from the graveyard as long as you've only got dragons in there and you have nothing on your side, or no monsters on your side of the field. So, for example, say you have a Red Eyes Darkness Metal but nothing to summon, resurrect Totem, tribute or banish for Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and then use Red Eyes Darkness Metal's ability to summon out something else. So it is quite a versatile little card for dragon decks, but for example, if you're running a Chaos Dragon deck which uses like Blackluster Soldier sometimes, or Chaos Sorcerer, or Lilas and Lightsworn engines and stuff, this probably wouldn't be a good idea, because for this card to reach its full potential, you need to run all dragons. And for those who want to run like big top meta cards like Thunder Kings and that sort of thing, it's Maxis and Effect Veilers and that, it's a bit tricky with Totem Dragon, because it only works if everything's all dragon. Oh wow, I just noticed the time on the video. I better stop here, guys, and we'll go on to part 2, so we'll see you there.